Welcome to Crisp Tutorials, where we keep it short, simple, and to the point. Today's topic is what should be the duration of meetings in Agile. So let us discuss what should be the duration of each meeting in Agile. So the first meeting that we have in Agile is daily stand-up meeting. It should strictly be of 15 minutes every single day. So it is often seen that most of the teams exceed the time limit and they go up to 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And what are the basic reasons for this and how can we avoid it? So here are my tips. First thing, in the daily stand-up meeting, you have heard this 100 times that you should only answer three questions. Every team member should answer only three questions. What he did yesterday, what he is planning to do today, and is there any impediment? What he should not answer is how he did yesterday, how he did those tasks yesterday, how is he planning to do the task today, or how is he going to solve the impediments that he has. So, how questions should never be answered. What happened yesterday, what is going to happen today, and is there any impediment? That's all that you need to answer. Keep the how for some technical discussion, meeting, scheduled with the architect. You can do that later. So any technical or non-technical discussion should not happen. Any kind of discussion is discouraged in this kind of a meeting. And if you do this, you can very well manage this meeting within 15 minutes. Another type of meeting is the estimation meeting. Now see, here estimation meetings should last only for 1 to 2 hours. And this is the meeting which takes a long time for many teams. The reason why they extend is the BA team explains that story to the delivery team for the first time. Then the delivery team have tons of questions and they are very valid questions and the BA sits and answers them. Then they start discussing how to implement that story with the architect, and that takes a very long time. 2 hours, they cannot complete estimation within 2 hours. So the problem is developers and QA don't know about the user stories beforehand, and that is the root cause. Let's mitigate it. My style of doing this is uh, wireframes should be attached to every user story so that it gives a live picture of how the user story is going to turn out. And these user stories should be ready at least 2 days in advance before the estimation meeting. Okay, so even though BA has not explained those stories to the QA, they are writing in plain English in TFS, right? They are writing the user story in plain English. So developers and QAs can go and read those stories because even the wireframes are available. So there should not be any problem. Besides, you should encourage them. You should encourage the developers and the QA to ask more questions to the BA even before the estimation meeting. They should also be encouraged to ask doubts, implementation doubts to the architects well in advance so that by the time the team comes for the estimation meeting, they already know what the stories are. They already have discussed how to implement it with the architect, and finally they just have to sit there. BA will explain the story once again so that if they have missed anything, they will come to know that even the doubts are already cleared with the BA. Still, if they have any other doubts, they'll get cleared in the meeting and they can very well go ahead just for the estimation. So I bet if you go by this approach and if your developers really follow this, if your QA really follows this, then within 1 hour you'll be able to complete the estimation meeting. So this is a very important tip. Now, estimation meetings will also help you during the planning of the sprint. Let's go for the next meeting now. So the next meeting that we have in Agile is planning meeting. It has to be done at the sprint start. Many teams take 1 or 2 complete day to complete this meeting, but I strongly discourage this. I personally feel 2 hours are more than enough for planning if you follow my tips. So my tip is during the estimation meeting itself, developers already have an idea of how to implement that story. Okay, QA has an idea of what all is going to be there in the story during the estimation meeting only. So if you have the estimation meeting properly done, okay, if the story seeps into the heads of your team members, then uh, as soon as this meeting is over, ask the developers and the QA to create a task breakdown for those stories. Also, give an idea to the developer who is going to pick which story. Then and there itself, ask them to pick the stories. Okay, that agile way is to ask the developer to pick the story as per their convenience. Okay, so this is very important. The thing is, if they have done the task breakdown during the estimation or after the estimation meeting itself, then by the time we come for the planning meeting, the tasks are already there in the TFS. Hours are put into them. Okay. Then all that we need to do is ask who is going to take leave and go for capacity planning. Okay. So now how many hours are available for us, that we know because we know the leave plans. We also know how many tasks how many hours we are going to require, because each and every story which we may potentially pick in the planning meeting is already estimated and tasks are broken down, they are put into TFS. So this is a very important tip. If you follow this meeting cannot last for more than 2 hours. It will save you 1 or 2 days completely. Okay, this is a very important tip. And yeah, there's one more tip. You may also ask the delivery team to enter their leave plans just before the planning meeting, so that no time is wasted in the planning meeting. It just remains a formality to conduct this meeting. Then that in this meeting you decide that these are the stories which you are finally going to pick up. You are very very sure that you'll be able to achieve it, because you have already the leave plans are already filled into the TFS. The task breakdown is already there in the TFS. Okay, so this is my very important tip. Okay, and the last type of meeting that we have is a retrospective meeting. So typically it lasts for 1 hour, and it is conducted at the sprint end. Here, my friends, if this even overshoots beyond 1 hour, it's a very good thing. The more amount of time you put into this meeting, the better your team is going to perform over the sprints. Okay, so still, to reduce the time for this hour, here are my tips. Conduct these meetings around 4 p.m. during the evening time. Okay, and in that day's daily stand-up meeting, which I am assuming that you'll be performing in the morning itself, give the people an idea that you are going to have a retrospective meeting today. Okay, and tell them that each team member should bring at least one point that what went well in the last sprint, and at least one point that what didn't go well in the last sprint, along with the reasons. Okay, so at least you will get 5 points. If you have 5 team members, then at least you'll have 5 good points and 5 bad points. Okay, they don't have to think and ponder upon the points during the meeting. This saves a lot of time. And the third thing is, very important thing is, avoid blame game. When we say what didn't go well, it should be what didn't go well. Okay, who didn't do well, that is not a question. Okay, what went wrong is the question. Who did that wrong is not a question. And if your team members get into this kind of a conflict, they start questioning that XYZ developer has done this mistake, you should immediately pitch in and you should say that this is not about blame game. This is not about who did what. This is about what went wrong and what can we do to avoid this in the future. We are not pointing fingers here. You should put your foot down on this. Always remember, Scrum Master should never require to get into people management. I'm saying never require to. Means if need be, you have to do that job. But it is unfortunate if you have to do that job. Try and avoid into getting this kind of a situation. Try and deflect the topic ASAP as soon as the blame game starts. And it does start in every team. So you have to deflect that topic. You have to bring the focus back upon work, back upon what went wrong, finding reasons of what went wrong and how we can avoid it, and avoid the topic that who did something wrong. Okay, that is not required. What went wrong is the important thing. You should bring the focus back to this point. So these were a couple of my tips to keep your meeting durations to a minimal during the Agile. Thank you.